In the bedroom of an old, dilapidated home lay an old woman in bed. She was holding her only granddaughter's hand and said, "Dear, I'm so sorry you have to sit with me. Please, send me to—" "Grandma, stop that," Nicole interrupted. "You raised me, and I'll never leave you. We're family, and I'll do everything I can to get you better. Everything will be fine," she said, smiling at her grandma before kissing her. The old woman had tears in her eyes. "I would give away everything to die quietly and not torture you like this," she whispered, barely audibly. The diagnosis wasn't comforting, and the only hope was surgery. But the chances were slim, and no one could give any guarantee. They needed money for the surgery. Nicole worked after school, but it didn't pay well. If she dropped out, then she could work a full day and earn more, but her grandma wanted Nicole to get her education and did everything for that to happen. "I remember you when Mother brought you here. I was angry at her and screamed, but then begged her to take you. Not because of that. I loved you very much. But I wanted you to have a future in the big city, and there aren't even any schools here. This town is home only to old people," she said, coughing. Nicole sighed. Her mother left her, and Nicole hadn't forgiven her. She remembered how her life with her grandma was hard and how sometimes they didn't have money for food. Her grandma did whatever she had to get Nicole an education, so she could leave this place and find a good job and start a career. But now, looking at how Nicole mucked about with her, she burned and sighed from despair. "Don't worry, I'll think of something," Nicole said. Her grandma smiled. She was happy the girl she raised was so grateful and did so much for her, but seeing how she was losing her life was unbearable. Nicole went to school in the morning and the commute was long. A neighbor stayed with Nicole's grandma, who Nicole paid for her time. "What's wrong?" Nicole's friend asked, searing her bleary face. "I didn't sleep half the night. My grandma had a fit. I'm exhausted. I have no idea where to get money for the surgery." Her friend looked at Nicole and said after a pause, "Well, there's one thing you could do. Rich people pay good money for virgins." "You haven't. If I did that, it would solve all my financial problems." Nicole furrowed her eyebrows and said, "You're suggesting I become a prostitute?" "Don't be stupid. Why a prostitute? You just need to do it once. It's your call. You need the money for the surgery," her friend said angrily and left. The phone rang. It was the neighbor with her grandma. She said the grandma had a bad seizure and was worried she died, but everything was okay. Nicole was sobbing. She hurt terribly because she couldn't help her grandma, who was suffering so much. Nicole stood in front of an office building. Her head was foggy. Miraculously, she was able to get a meeting with the CEO. She went in and saw a man of average height who was a little overweight and had gray hair. She imagined that she'd have to with him and felt uneasy. She wanted to run, but thought about her grandma and decided that she had no other choice. "I have interviews with potential employees once a month. People don't come often because they think I'm extremely strict and mean. Give me your resume," he said matter-of-factly and harshly, pointed to where Nicole should sit. "I want to sell you my virginity," Nicole blurted out. His face reddened. He looked absolutely confused and said, "I've seen many things in life, but is this a prank? Please don't say no. My grandma is sick and I need money. I'm ready to do whatever you say." Nicole's eyes were full of tears. His face changed. He looked at her with sadness and compassion. "Your parents can't help?" he asked. "My mom left me and I never met my father." Nicole wasn't embarrassed anymore. He thought about something. He grabbed a pen, wrote something on a piece of paper, and gave it to Nicole. "This is a hotel. Tonight. Give them your name and they'll take you." Nicole took the paper. She was bawling now. Nicole told her grandma she'd be at the library late and stay in the city overnight at a friend's. She went to the hotel desk, introduced herself, and was taken to the room. When he came in, Nicole was in her underwear. She could hardly stand. Her body was trembling. He looked at her and said something unexpected. "Get dressed, please. There are stereotypes that if a person is rich, they'll do whatever they please. I brought food. Let's eat and I'll leave. You can stay here, rest, and get some sleep." He put food on the table and threw money on the bed. Nicole looked at him with wide eyes, not understanding what was happening or knowing what to say. He asked about her life over dinner. "Take that money," he pointed to the envelope, "and help your grandma. Don't ever do anything like this again." He got up, wished her luck, and left. Surgery went longer than planned. The doctors warned Nicole that her grandma's chances of getting better were slim. The disease had run rampant, and her grandmother was getting worse, and they even tried to talk her out of surgery. But her grandmother was the closest person to her. She was like her mother and friend, so Nicole was afraid that if she didn't take this chance, she'd regret it forever. Nicole was there when her grandma woke up. "Thank you, dear, for trying so hard for me, but I think this is the end. Don't be upset, and don't cry. You have your whole life ahead of you. Live and love every day and never get despondent." She was gone the next day. It hit Nicole like a truck, and the next month passed in a haze. She rented an apartment at the edge of the city. She stopped going to classes and had lost her interest in college. She often remembered the man who gave her money without expecting anything in return. It was for naught. Nicole sat in that room again. When he saw her, he was surprised. "I came to thank you. Unfortunately, it didn't work out and we couldn't save her. But now I can work and will gradually pay you back." "You don't need to do that. That's not why I gave you the money. You know, I was given a chance once and now I want to give you one. If you need a job, I can help. Would you like to work in my company?" Nicole said yes without thinking and went to work the next day. She worked hard, came in first, and left last. She took work home with her to understand it better too. After 6 weeks, Nicole was a full-fledged employee, and after 4 months, she was earning the company good money. The CEO was very happy that he didn't make a mistake with her. Nicole rented a better apartment and drove a nice car. One day, her neighbor called, the one who looked after her grandma, and asked if she had sold the home because someone was in it. Nicole was shocked when she drove up and saw her mother. "What are you doing here?" Nicole asked rudely. Her mother hesitated. "I heard my mother died. I came to see my inheritance," she said without shame. "How could you? You left me? Came around once a year just to take my grandma's money? You never visited when she was sick, and now you come for inheritance? You're a monster, not a person," Nicole said furiously. She understood that legally her mother had the right to an inheritance just like she did, but she didn't think her mother had any moral right to even be here. After a couple days, a lawyer called Nicole and invited her to a meeting with her mother to read the will. After reading it, Nicole smiled. Her grandma gave everything to a charity that helped old, single people. Nicole's mother was furious and asked the lawyer if she could change something, but he shook his head. "Are you happy?" she asked Nicole. "I am. I'm happy that all my grandma's things didn't go to a person who never gave a damn about her own mother or child," Nicole answered honestly. "You could help your mother. I gave birth to you. I'm sick and I need money for medicine." "Bring me proof that you're sick and we'll talk," Nicole answered harshly. She looked at Nicole scornfully. Nicole was almost positive that it was another lie to get money. But she was anxious and thought about her mother. "Maybe I was too rude. What if she's actually sick?" she thought. It was easy to find her address. It was in a rough neighborhood and it was a bit scary to get there, but she went, nevertheless. The apartment building looked like something out of a horror movie. Nicole had never seen something like it. She suddenly thought she was happy her mother gave her away so she wouldn't have to grow up here. Nicole knocked and the door was opened by a girl about 7 years old. Nicole looked at her and understood everything. "Where's your mom?" "She's at work. I'll get the babysitter," she answered. Nicole stepped forward and was easily let inside. There were 2 other kids in the apartment. They were about 4 and 2 years old. Nicole looked around. "Do you have anything to eat?" The girl ran to the kitchen and brought a bag of snacks. Nicole ordered food, filled the fridge, fed the kids, and put them to sleep. Her mother came later that evening. She clearly didn't expect to find Nicole there. "How did you leave me and have 3 more kids?" "I met a man. He seemed like a good one. We moved in together, got married, and I got pregnant. I decided that since I left you, I should keep and raise this one. Then there was another. My husband left and started taking drugs. He died of an overdose, and then I learned I was pregnant again. Now I'm alone with 3 kids. I'm okay. I work and I'm trying to keep them." There's obviously not enough money. When I heard my mother died, I was counting on the inheritance for them." She nodded towards her sleeping children. Nicole rented a better apartment for her mother and half-siblings. She helped get the oldest in school, the middle child in daycare, and the youngest a nanny so her mother could get a normal job. Nicole's mother tried hard to change for her and the little kids. She was extremely grateful to Nicole. At first, Nicole only helped out for the kids and felt nothing more than pain and anger for her mother, but over time, the more they talked, the better they got along. Nicole saw changes in her mother, and they found common ground. Who knows? Maybe someday they'll be able to become one big family.